Our contestants who are ready to entertain and impress, and we will get ready. We will get started in just a moment as soon as we have everyone able to return to their seats.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Thanks so much. Now I know you're going to continue your success on keeping electronic devices from interrupting any speeches. These are a little bit longer, so you have to be a little bit more diligent. We will now conduct our international speech contest. Our contestants, judges, ballot counters, timers, and sergeant-at-arms have all been briefed prior to the beginning of this contest. Everyone is aware of the Toastmasters international rules that govern this contest. Once the contest has begun, the sergeant-at-arms will secure the doors, and no one should enter or leave the room while the contestants are speaking. You may do so if you need to, if time permits, during the minute of silence between each speaker. After the contest, please don't leave the room until all of the ballots have been collected. I'd like to announce a speaking order for the International Speech Contest. Contestant number 1, Jerry Lowers. Jerry Lowers, contestant number 1. Contestant number 2, Cadano. Cadano, contestant number 2. Contestant number 3, Matt Nigrin. Matt Nigrin, contestant number 3. Contestant number 4, Ram Pravati. Ram Pravati, contestant number 4. Contestant number 5, Eric Feinendagen. Eric Feinendagen, contestant number 5. Contestant number 6, Steve Sery. Steve Sery, contestant number 6. As in the prior contest, there will be a minute of silence between each contestant speaking, and you guys did a great job of maintaining the silence, probably better than any contest I've been in before, so you guys all stars of silence and letting judges do their difficult job. At the end, we'll let the judges have as much time as they need to complete their ballots. We're now ready to begin the contest. Contestant number 1, Jerry Lowers. A little bit of magic. A little bit of magic, Jerry Lowers.
Fellow Toastmasters guests, I was here at this theater to see a magic show. There were hundreds of us in the audience, and we all expected to see a great show. I had seen this magician several times before, and his trick of turning a white handkerchief into a beautiful white dove was awesome. A few minutes before the show was about to begin, the MC came to the mic and announced that the show was canceled because the magician was sick. The crowd started to boo and turn ugly. I knew I needed to do something before things really got out of hand. The first thing I did was to assess the audience. What did I know about these people? One thing that I knew from a recent newspaper article was that the companies in the area around this theater, where most of these people lived and worked, had a much higher rate of labor turnover than in other parts of the city. While I couldn't turn a handkerchief into a dove, maybe I could tell these people about some tricks that would help them have longer tenure with the companies for which they worked. Certainly in the long run, this would be much more beneficial to them than simple parlor magic tricks. I quickly ran to the stage, commandeered the mic, and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, the show will go on. While I'm not exactly a magician, I can tell you about some tricks that will change your lives for the better. And what magician would ever tell you how he or she did a trick?" The audience quieted, and so I began. Recently, I retired from my company, where I spent the last 25 years. My colleagues and friends all ask me, how did I last so long? Since such longevity is unusual in this day and age. My reply to them was this: a little bit of magic. Needless to say, I got a lot of perplexed looks. In his essay, Magic, Science, and Religion, Branislaw Malinowski, one of the 20th century's most important anthropologists, said, "The magic art is directed towards the attainment of practical aims." One of my practical aims, when I joined my company in 1988, was to have a long and rewarding career, and I knew I would need a few tricks up my sleeve in order to make that happen. I want to tell you about these tricks now. The first trick I had up my sleeve was understanding that my company and the industry that it was in would always be changing. So it was critical for me to be flexible enough to change as well. While I always found change challenging and at times really stressful, I always looked at change as an opportunity to learn new things and to grow both personally and professionally. Had I not embraced change, my career with my company undoubtedly would have been far shorter and nowhere near as enjoyable and rewarding. Jack Welch, the well-known former CEO of General Electric, said, "Change before you have to." The second trick I had up my sleeve was understanding that whatever my accomplishments with my company would be, they would be the result of not only my efforts, but also the efforts of those who were part of the company team. Michael Jordan, the famous Chicago Bulls player, put it this way: talent wins games. Teamwork wins championships. The third trick I had up my sleeve was understanding that I had to focus on those things that I could control and try and execute them exceptionally well. Naveen Jain, an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award winner, put it this way: success usually comes through great execution, simply by doing a superior job of doing the blocking and tackling. During my 25 years with my company, there were so many things that I couldn't control. But I always found key things that were within my control. And if I did these right, I could contribute to my company's and my long-term success. I paused to let the audience reflect on what I had just said. Suddenly the clapping began, slowly at first. Then people began to rise from their seats and the clapping grew louder. Trying to be overheard above the clapping, I yelled, "Embrace change, value teamwork, focus on those things that you can control. With these 3 tricks up your sleeve, you'll have that little bit of magic that you need for a longer tenure with your company and a more stable, rewarding, and enjoyable career." And that's much better magic than turning a handkerchief into a dove.
Thank you. We'll give the judges 1 minute of silence to work on their ballots. Contestant number 2, Cadano. And your glass is, Cadano.
Some of you might believe the glass is half empty, while others around here believe the glass is half full. I believe I'm just happy to have a glass. A glass called life. A glass so full enough to meet my need. Enough not only to meet my need, but to quench the thirst of many others around me. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, judges, and guests, why does Khadija think that just having a glass is good enough? If you notice, the glass resembles me. It looks like me. There was an intention in choosing this shape. You have your own glass. You have your own vision of what your glass should look like. I had mine too. The reason I believe I'm happy with this glass in my hand, the glass called life, is because I have seen losses. I have seen people's glasses turn completely upside down. Glasses completely empty. They picked themselves up, collected drop by drop, and got their glass full. It takes a lot, my fellow Toastmasters, as human beings, to lose and then to gain. To gain enough to fulfill your thirst and the thirst of others around you. I was not always like this. I always saw it half empty. I always thought I was the slender, slim glass. I looked at the mirror, but yet I thought, okay, that's not me. That doesn't look like me at all. I'm either half empty, not half full, I don't know. It took a bout of poliomyelitis, being completely quadriplegic, losing 3 precious babies. Can you imagine? Loss of 1 child breaks your heart. I had lost 3. I could have cried all my life and it would not be enough. I persevered. It wasn't meant to be. I picked my glass up, started collecting the drops again. Today, when I look at my 19-year-old, gosh, that's my glass. It's more than half full. For those of you out here who think your glass is still half empty, go find a smaller glass, will you? Fill it all out. It's as simple as that. Shrink your boundaries. Not only will your glass be full, it will overflow. Why do I have this discussion of glass with you? I have seen enough people crying over that half empty. I've seen enough people ignore the half full. Can you imagine for a moment, all of us around here, thinking that this glass was half full? Completely gratified with what we have. Satisfied to the core of who you are. What the shape of your glass is. How much water you have. Whether you have or whatever in it. Can you imagine a world like that? I want you to go home and cherish your glass. Cherish what's in the glass. Don't wait for a poliomyelitis. Don't wait for losing the 3 babies. Look at the purpose of your glass. Have you managed to quench someone's thirst? Mr. Toastmaster.
We'll give our judges a minute to work on their ballots. International Speech Contestant number 3, Matt Nigrin. Achieving success through the 2-step VR process. Achieving success through the 2-step VR process, Matt Nigrin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, honored guests. Who here is like me and has had some difficulty achieving their goals and maximizing your success? Today, we're going to try and fix that. Today, I'm going to share with you my 2-step VR process by which you can use and immediately affect some maximization of your own success and start achieving some goals. So, what is the VR process? I'm going to explain it to you, but I will need your help. Let's begin. The first step, V, visualization. This half of the room, you guys are my visualizers. Everybody from here on. When I signal to you, I'll need you to raise your fingers up to your temples, concentrate hard, and hum. Hum. Ready? Visualize. Excellent. Now it's your turn. R, remind. You guys are my reminders. When I signal to you, you're going to wag your finger at me and say, don't forget. Ready? Remind.
Don't forget.
Excellent. Inflect that just like my mom used to do. So, let's do some practice. Ready? V, visualize. R, remind.
Don't forget.
V, visualize. R, remind.
Don't forget.
Excellent. Now let's go into some details on what each step entails. V, visualization. This is where you create in your mind an image of your own success. Make it as detailed and vivid as possible. Where are you? Who's with you? What are you wearing? What feelings are coursing through you as you succeed? All of those things create the image of your success. Make it, the reason you add so many details is so that you're speaking to your subconscious, actually make yourself believe that anything is possible. Sometimes make it absurd. How far could you go? I'm not just getting in shape. I'm not just quitting cigarettes. I'm climbing Mount Everest, and I'm going to accomplish all these great things. The first step is believing that it's possible. That's you're reprogramming your subconscious to Visualize. Close your eyes. Put these images in your head. You are giving a speech in Kuala Lumpur. Something along those lines. The second phase. The second phase was...
Don't forget.
Don't forget. Got it. So you've spoken to your subconscious, but all goals, they start out so clear. You've got them, they're right in your foresights. You're focused on them. But as your day progresses, your months go by, they slip to the back. You must remind yourself, bring them right back into focus. Set something on your calendar, set something in Outlook on key dates to follow up on. By April 1st, I'm going to have this accomplished. Pow! That brings it right back into focus. You set up daily alarms, like using your phone, or also on Outlook. At noon, do this, 5 minutes, pow! Right back into focus. You've told all your friends and family what your goals are, what you're hoping to accomplish. They ask you, hey, Matt, how's it going? Pow! Right back into focus. I post pictures on the wall of things I want to do, or sayings that motivate me. Pow! Right back into focus. Those are some tricks that I speak to the higher levels of thought, to remind myself, and keep myself on focus with those goals. Visualize, remind. Visualize, remind. Shall we practice some?
Sure.
I had a goal to get into really great shape. The first step was V, visualize. I see myself coaching my daughter's football team. I'm running around, leading the drills. Her team is doing so well that they end up winning the championship. The second step, R, remind.
Don't forget.
Every day at noon, I set a little reminder to go down to the gym. I've pre-scheduled all of my workouts so I know exactly what to do each day. I've told a friend exactly what my plans are. She gets me out there in the gym. Remind, remind, remind. Another thing. How about one more goal? I have a goal to go on an exotic vacation. First step, V, visualize. I see myself hiking in the rainforest. There's baby tapir and a kinkajou. Second step, R, remind.
Don't forget.
Printed out beautiful pictures of my dream vacation. I've posted those on my desktop wall. I've set reminders of exactly what I need to do to get to that mode. Visualizing and reminding. Visualize, remind. So I think I'll wrap it up today, but I think I've shared with you a two-step process where you first step, you visualize, you create that image of your success in your mind. And the second step, reminding, where you constantly bring the focus back onto what you hope to accomplish. So thank you all for your time, and thank you for your participation. So.
We will again give our judges 1 minute to work on their ballots. International speech contestant number 4, Ram Pravati. Please save me. Please save me, Ram Pravati.
children die in car accidents every year in the United States alone. Of those, more than 100 are killed by the cars that are backing up. Staggering 95% of those are the children under the age of 5. How sad it is. Are you concerned about the safety of our communities and streets, especially for our precious little children? Are you? Are you? Are you? Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, and honored guests. Unfortunately, way too many lives are being taken away prematurely due to some freaky accident that could have been easily avoided if we all pay little attention, show compassion, and care for others. After all, if the world is just about us, we are in the wrong place. In the world, there are many heartbreaking stories. I came here today to share my personal story. Story of Ananya, my sweet little 4-year-old niece. Ananya was a smart, very talented child. Best of all, she has a passion for love. It was the summer of 2010. We went to Des Moines, Iowa to celebrate her little brother's first birthday. Ananya was so excited to see all of us. She was hugging each and every one of us, saying, I love you, I love you. She was so adorable, isn't she? On the night of the party, when the music started playing, unusually enough, Ananya started dancing like crazy, as if there is no tomorrow. She was grabbing everyone. Come on, Daddy. Come on, Mommy. Come on, Mama. Let's dance. Have fun. By the way, Mama means uncle in our language. She was having the best time of her life. After having a great time, when we were ready to come back home, Ananya came to me and told me, Mama, please, please don't go. Stay back, pretty please. And I told her, sweetie, we're going to come back soon to celebrate your own 5th birthday for the holidays. I gave her a big hug and I headed back home. As we were eagerly waiting for the holidays to come, on Friday, the September 24th, I got a call from my brother-in-law. In a shallow voice, a shocking news hit my ears that Ananya was involved in a major car accident. My heart dropped. Not knowing what to expect, we dumped a bunch of stuff, started driving to Iowa. After the longest 6-hour drive of my life, when we went to Des Moines, the news was even devastating. What we found out was it was a beautiful Friday afternoon. All the children in the neighborhood are playing in the driveways and the streets. Little Ananya was eagerly waiting for her dad to come home from work. After he comes home, she grabs him. Daddy, come on, let's go play outside. Everybody is having fun. My brother-in-law told, sweetie, I have one phone call to finish. Why don't you go out with your mother and brother and start playing? Ananya jumped out in excitement, started playing with his little brother. She was having so much fun. When the tennis ball they were playing rolled down the street, Ananya ran and stopped at the edge of the driveway. Knowing that she has to look around first, she stopped on both sides, made sure no cars are coming, and went to grab the ball. Then everybody heard a big scream in the neighborhood. Poor little girl didn't know that the driver of the car in the driveway across the street will pull over the car so quickly, even without looking around, and runs over her. My sister shouted, I don't know! Brother let us stop, only to see her little daughter was lying on the street underneath the car. He went down and grabbed her crushed body, soaked in blood, and collapsed in the driveway. Looking into her fading eyes, a speechless voice asked him, Daddy, please save me, please. Poor father couldn't do much except for waiting for the paramedics and holding on to her tight. All the best efforts of the doctors couldn't save little Ananya. We lost a precious little one on that day. That was the darkest day of our life. I stand here today to plead to each and every one of you, your families and friends, to always, always look behind the car before you get in to back up. Always honk and then back up one step at a time. If we could save one child, at least one, and save the agony for a single family, I truly believe that today's speech and the unspoken words of Ananya are well done. I miss you, Ananya. Mr. Toastmaster.
We'll give the judges 1 minute to work on the ballots. International speech contestant number 5, Eric Feinendegen. Kyle's kindness. Kyle's kindness, Eric Feinendegen.
There are over 7 billion souls that breathe life on this planet. And each one of us, as we enter the world, are given a label, boy or girl. When we start school, we're even further defined. Slow learner, average, gifted. As an adult, it gets even worse. We are judged by just about everything, from the clothes that we wear, to the car that we drive, to the house that we live in. Pretty soon, we are so covered with labels, we're like a singer whose song has been silenced, and nobody knows who we really are. Master Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. The question I want you to consider this afternoon, and the one I fully intend on answering, is, what happens when we're mislabeled? It was a week before Thanksgiving 2013. I was chaperoning my 6-year-old daughter Rachel to her friend's birthday party being held at the local entertainment center. The building was filled with the sounds of dinging, cha-chinging, and birthday singing. Despite all the bleeps, bloops, and bright lights, however, our attention was diverted in the direction of a boy, about 8 or 9 years old, who went by the name Kyle. He had his cap turned back, sleeves pushed up, and a fierce determination in his eye. He was playing the, oh, so addicting, claw game. Here's how it works. You put in a $1 bill, out comes the metal claw, and you oh so delicately drop it on a pile of goodies in the hopes of winning a prize. Now, it may seem innocent, but then again, so does trying to eat just one Oreo. You've been warned. As we watch Kyle fail, unfortunately, time and time again, to win his prize of choice, a fuzzy pair of dice, we notice that he began to pace back and forth, sizing up the dice, much like Steve Sery's lion would size up its prey. His obsession became so intense that a small crowd of people began to gather around him. And I heard one person say to another, there might be something wrong with this kid. That's when my precious Princess Rachel, gazed up at me with those big, beautiful blue eyes, and gently whispered, "Daddy, will you win me a prize?" Her heart's fancy was instantly captured by a stuffed, droopy-eyed puppy dog who she swears only had eyes for her. I said, "Sweetie, Dad's not very good at this game, but please, honey, let's find something else to do." "But Dad, you're my hero." Okay, then it was game on. Now they learn that trick real early in life, don't they, gentlemen? I put in my first dollar bill. Out came the claw. It just missed, and the whole crowd went, "Oh!" I put in my second dollar bill. Out came the claw. It got jammed, and the whole crowd went, "Oh!"
What is it?
I could feel the sweat build on my brow. I had $1 bill left. I was almost out of money and out of patience. I put in my final dollar bill, and I swear I could hear George Washington chuckle and see him wave goodbye to me on the rain of that machine. Out came the claw. It caught the puppy dog. It was on its way over to us when just at the last moment, like that monster fish almost in the boat, it slipped off the hook. And the whole crowd went, "Whoa!" The look on my daughter's face was as if she just found out there were no Santa Claus. I just stood there, speechless, hopeless, clueless, drenched in the agony of defeat. As the crowd began to disperse, we noticed Kyle still standing there, just staring at us, analyzing us much like a doctor would a patient. And I heard someone say, yet again, there might be something wrong with this kid. Rachel and I went back to the party. We had our fill of more games, pizza, and birthday cake. But the whole time, I couldn't help but wonder, did Kyle ever win his prize? About an hour or so went by, and as we were leaving, I went back over toward the claw machine, and there I saw Kyle's dad. I gave him the father-to-father nod and asked, did he win anything? Before I could respond, I felt a tap on my left arm, and it was Kyle standing there. And he firmly placed something in the palm of my hand without uttering a word. It was the stuffed, droopy-eyed puppy dog. I was so desperate to win for Rachel. Then his father said, Kyle has autism. He doesn't say much, but he's watching. He saw how much your daughter wanted that puppy. So he gave up his quest for the dice to win that for her. Now shake the man's hand, Kyle. As I put out my hand to shake his, I gave the puppy to Rachel. She, in turn, gave Kyle a hug. And then I got one too. And then she said, now, you're both my hero. You see, there was nothing wrong with Kyle. But some people might label him simply as a child with autism and nothing else. Kyle's kindness changed that. I encourage you, the next time you're given a label, please remember Kyle's kindness. Because for Rachel and myself, his label will forever be hero. Master Toastmaster.
We will give our judges 1 minute to work on the ballots. International speech contestant number 6, Steve Sery. The sign. The sign, Steve Sery.
Do you have difficulty making decisions? If you do, I suggest you slow down, open your eyes, and look for the sign. Fellow contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. The older I get, the more I believe there's a higher power helping me to make decisions. I'll use a story to illustrate my point. Every Thanksgiving, I get my furnace serviced for the upcoming winter season. This Thanksgiving was no different. The guy came in, serviced the furnace. He walked up to me and said, "Mr. Sery, here's your bill. But I've got good news, I've got bad news." I said, "Well, what's the good news?" "The good news is your service is cleaned and adjusted." "Well, what's the bad news?" "The bad news is your blower motor and heat exchanger are going bad." "What's it going to cost to repair it?" I said, "Mr. Sery, you need to sit down." The furnace is 21 years old. The cost to repair the furnace is not worth it. There's nothing I can do. Your furnace has reached its end of life. I said, "No!" So how much time do I have? I said, "You may have a week. You may have a month. I really can't tell." Those of you in the audience who've known me over the years, I'm a rather frugal kind of a guy. I paid him his check, sent him on his way, and I said, "I'm not worried. This will get me through the winter, and I'll buy a new furnace in the summer when the prices come down." January 24th, 2014, during the second polar vortex, my furnace died. And I said, "Why now?" And I heard a voice, and the voice said, "Steve, I sent you signs that the furnace was dying." I said, "You did?" He said, "Yeah." Because what happened over Christmas break? And I thought. I said, "Well, my gas meter outside was leaking gas. So I called the gas guy and he come over 3 times to fix it." He says, "That's right." And what did the gas guy say? Well, he said, "My furnace was putting out dangerously high levels of carbon monoxide." Unfortunately, it was blowing to the outside of the house and not in the house. He goes, "Do you know who caused that gas leak?" I said, "You?" "That's right. I expected you to fix that furnace, but guess what happened? Life got in the way. I got busy and forgot all about it." But then he said, "What happened next?" I thought about it. I said, "Oh, I remember. The very first polar vortex we had. My son John came home from school. He calls me at work and goes, 'Pops, it's 62 degrees in the house.' I had a thermostat set to 68. I knew it wasn't keeping up, so I knew that I had a problem." I said, "Did you send that polar vortex?" He said, "Sure did." "Everyone in Chicago suffered because you didn't get your furnace fixed." But then what happened, Steve? Got busy. Life got in the way. Forgot all about it. And time went on. January 24th, 2014, the furnace died. I heard the voice say, "Steve, I had a feeling something bad was going to happen to your family. You have a lovely wife, 2 lovely children, and yes, 2 cats. We had a feeling, I had a feeling something bad was going to happen because you didn't get the furnace fixed. So yes, I sent down that second polar vortex knowing it was going to kill your furnace. And then we had no choice but to get the furnace fixed." Steve, your family's important. It wasn't their time to go. I had to force the issue and kill the furnace. I said, "Thank you." The more I think about it, as a father, I was supposed to protect my children. I got so busy with life, with work, with doing things, that I almost jeopardized the safety of my family. That scared me. We get so wrapped up in our lives, working 50 to 60 hours a week, not just to get ahead, but just to keep up. It's hard to think of anything else. I've got 2 kids I'm running here and there at activities. I don't have time. We don't have time for things to break in our lives. We don't have time to fix things that need to be fixed because we're so busy. Well, take it from me. You need to slow down to keep a small problem from turning into a catastrophic event. Slow down. Open your eyes and look for the signs. Mr. Toastmaster.
We will now give our judges all the time that they need to complete their ballots.
What can I say? Hollywood there I come. Mr. Contest Chair, we have all the ballots.
All right, after 2 great contests, are you ready to meet some contestants?
Yes!
I would like to ask all of the Table Topics contests to come join me up at the front and in their speaking order from 1st to 6th. Now we're going to throw things off just a little bit because Amy Suzuki, who was our first speaker, unfortunately had to leave and we were cutting it so close, but I think she just had to step out. So we will recognize her at a later time. So Joan Burden, thank you so much for participating today. Please let the audience know what club you're representing.
Discover your voice.
And if you remember the number, That's always the big test. And it's getting, Toastmasters has grown so much that now the club numbers are really long. So it's almost like remembering an extra social security number. But that's great for Toastmasters, right?
It is.
Yes.
It is. We've been in existence for a little over a year, so maybe I get a reprieve from that.
You can have a reprieve from that. And please, are there any roles that you've been playing in Toastmasters?
I have been the president of the club since we started in November of 2012. And it's growing, and we're doing very well. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent. And you listed one of your interests as sailing.
Yes.
Is there anything impromptu that happens in sailing similar to a table topics? You just have to respond?
There's a lot of things impromptu. That can be a weather change on Lake Michigan to one time we were on a trip and I did give a speech on it where we had to come into a port under GPS. We could not see the port. When we saw the opening, we're going, okay, are we going to get through it or not? So it's a lot of impromptu.
Joan, thank you so much for participating. Our next contestant is Ron Friedman. Can you please let everyone know what club you're representing?
Sure, Abbott Toastmasters 2679, and it's only 4 digits because Abbott Toastmasters has been in existence for 51 years. I also just say that Abbott Toastmasters is open to both companies' employees because last year it separated into a new company, AbbVie, and I'm with that company, but we're open to both companies.
And you've been with the club how many of those 51 years? It's a pretty simple question, right?
53.104. No, actually, no, just about 2 years. 2 years of both.
I'm being laughed at. So, when you're up in front speaking, things obviously get said that you don't remember. You'll tell me later.
That happens to me quite a lot.
Ron, thank you so much for participating.
Thank you very much.
Our next contestant is Shantella Richardson. And could you please let everyone know what club you're representing today?
I am Lake Forest Graduate School of Management, and I think our number is 129359.
We are going to take your word for that.
Smart move.
So you've listed that you had, could you tell everyone how long you've been in Toastmasters?
I have been in Toastmasters, I'm going to make it sound like a long time, 8 weeks.
You've listed one of the things that you enjoy doing is spending time with your 8-year-old daughter.
Yes.
What animal do you think she would have had follow you home from the zoo?
A small, expensive puppy, which the zoo wouldn't have. Yeah, we have a membership to the zoo, which is interesting, over at Brookfield, and she always goes and has her face painted. So we never really see the animal.
Maybe now you've got a reason to take her and check out all the animals at the same time you
giraffes.
have. Thank you so much for participating. Now, Steve, we are going to do a twofer with you, if that's okay. All right, so as a contestant in both the table topics and the international speech contest, please let everyone know which club you're representing today.
Talk of Lincolnshire, club number 6244.
Excellent, thank you. Tell us about one of your most recent outdoor adventures.
You know, I'll talk about the lion thing. This is a true story. A couple of years ago, my wife and I and the kids went to the Milwaukee Zoo to see the animals. And they have a glass enclosure for the lion cage. And the lion and I had a stare down. For about a good 5 minutes, we just locked eyes. He was probably about a good 50, 60 feet from me. And we decided to move on, so I turned my back to move on, and I heard the audience go, "Oh my God, this is making fun!" And the lion was pinned up against the glass right by me. So I figured maybe a stare down was a good thing to have.
And that prompted you to want to bring one home.
Get a new furnace.
Well, Steve, I have for you 2 certificates of participation, 1 for each contest. I want to thank you very much for representing. Susan Anderson, congratulations on participating. Please let everyone know what club you're representing today.
I am with JSC North Toastmasters.
Excellent. And how long have you been in Toastmasters?
We were formed in July of 2012. I have been a member since inception.
All right, a charter member. You mentioned you are a Chicago Blackhawks fan. How's your fan participation been this year?
I started charging my battery last night. We got a 4-3 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets in Columbus. The goal came that put us ahead 4-3 with 2.3 seconds left on the clock in regulation. I figure this is good karma.
Well, thank you so much for participating in the Table Topics competition. And now I would like to ask all of our international speech contest participants to join me up at the front. All right, Jerry, thank you so much for participating today and getting us started off in the contest. And could you tell us what club you are representing here today?
Deerbrook Park Toastmasters 4868.
Excellent, thank you. And you mentioned in your speech that you just recently retired. What's something exciting that you've done in the last 3 months that you want to share with the audience today?
Nothing. You know, between the weather, preparing my taxes, and, you know, with Medicare, Social Security, and all that, it's not been a fun time.
So is it safe to say now that you're retired, you'll have even more time to prepare speeches for future contests?
Sure.
Jerry, thank you so much for participating with us today. Our second contestant was Cadano. Cadano? Could you please let everyone know what club you're representing today?
I represent the Abbott Toastmasters Club. It's the same 51, 52-year-old.
Excellent. And how long have you been participating in Toastmasters?
I've been with Toastmasters 13 years so far at different clubs, Minnesota, California, even Switzerland.
So you help with the international in Toastmasters. That's awesome. Tell us about one of the hobbies that you've enjoyed doing.
Just as I told all of you about my daughter, my biggest hobby, the moments I spend with my daughter, are those cherished moments. Yes, by the end of it all, I'm broke. A 19-year-old, that's what they're good at.
Stacia, thank you so much for contestant was Matt Nigrin. Matt, thanks for being here with us today. Which club are you representing here today?
The Club Toast at UL.
And how long have you been participating in Toastmasters?
2.5 years, 3 years, I think.
Don't
forget.
Don't forget. So how is your daughter's team doing?
Oh, in my imagination?
I tell you what, let's play it both ways.
They're having fun. That's all that matters.
Young team soccer coach, I understand what you're saying. Thank you so much for participating today. Good luck. you. Please let the audience know what club you're representing today.
Yeah, Liberty Model 918568. Yes! We used to be in Libertyville, that's how we named Liberty Model. Now we moved to beautiful Chicago a couple last month. We had to think about changing it to Chicago Model.
So will your club at some point move out of the North Division, perhaps?
Yes.
Oh, that was answered quickly. Let's hope not. What are some of the things that you enjoy to do that you'd like to share with the audience?
Now, I think I'm passionate about Toastmasters. A couple of years ago, I did the youth leadership program for the children, for the kids, and then I'm really honored to have the opportunity to help the kids. And one of the kids who had the program, she proudly attributed for one of her successes in to present her project in the National Youth Leaders, and she represented the whole of Illinois in the top 10 for the youth. So I was really proud of it, how good I helped.
That's fantastic. Thank you for helping to represent Toastmasters and introduce it to the new generations coming up. And thank you for participating in the speech and sharing your speech with us. Fine and Deegan, which club are you representing today?
Lake County Toastmasters 652972.
Yeah. And how long have you been participating in Toastmasters?
10 years.
All right.
You can believe it. That was pre-marriage and pre-3 children. So I've been around for a while.
So we're definitely glad that you made it your priority today over this.
Oh, trust me, I'll pay for it the rest of the weekend.
Thank you very much for sharing your speech today, and congratulations on the participation. Well, at this time, I would like to turn control of the contest over to our North Division Governor, Lydia Sawyer, so she can tell us the results of the contest.
Toastmasters. Yes. Didn't we have a great time here today?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to first thank our contest master. Didn't he do a wonderful job? He did. He actually wore 2 hats. He was a contest chair, so he orchestrated this, and he was also the contest chair. And he promised me that we would get out of here by 12 o'clock. He said we got to be out of here. So he is 5 minutes ahead of time. So and I'd like to thank all the functionaries. We had to do some jiggling, judging. I'd like to thank the chief, judge, Jim Bowen. He just stepped in hours ago. Our ballot counters. Stephanie just stepped in. Our welcome table, Beth. Our welcome table as well. And our refreshment chair, Barbara Holt. And our chief timer, Evan Goldteeth. Our sister Joyce. At arms, Kathy Schneer.
Steve Llewellyn was about kind of too.
Oh, Steve Llewellyn. Okay. Our judges, we thank you. Awesome. Okay,
You're all on
now-
top. You're all on top.
Okay, now, can someone bring the trophies? place, Susan Anderson. Yes, you can say it. Our second place winner is Shantella Richardson. Our first place that's going to represent us in the district contest is Steve Sery. Thank you. Now for our international speech contest. Third place is Ram Pravati. Second place in the international speech contest, Steve Sery.